As this edition of Not in Your Lifetime was being prepared, a Cuban exile living in Miami, Reynaldo Martinez, contacted the former chief counsel of Congress's Assassination Committee to say he had information that he wanted to get off his chest before he died. Martinez wanted to talk about a man who was once his closest friend, Herminio Diaz, who had been a committed anti-Castro fighter and, before the revolution, worked in a mafia-run casino in Havana. Diaz, Martinez came to believe, took part in the Kennedy assassination.
My best friend was Herminio Diaz Garcia. Herminio was a very reserved person, very introverted, very serious, and spoke very little, but he was exceptionally courageous. Herminio, I don't think he finished at the Institute in Havana. He loved shooting. He was passionate about it, whether with a rifle or a pistol. It was his obsession. He always had a weapon on him.
As corroborating information confirms, Diaz became an assassin.
The first violent act he committed was the murder of Cucu Hernandez Vega in the Cuban embassy in Mexico. After that, he got involved in trying to kill Figueres, the president of Costa Rica. He got involved too in anti-Batista activities, including an attempt on Batista's life.
By 1959, Diaz was working as a security guard in a Havana casino run by mafia boss Santo Traficante. Come the revolution, when Castro placed Traficante under arrest, it was Diaz who fixed his release.
He asked me a favor, to bring him to Tresconia to see a man named Santo Traficante, who had promised him that if he got out, he would make Herminio head of security at the Riviera. Herminio asked them to release Santo Traficante. It wasn't a problem, just a matter of fixing things. Traficante was released 4 days later.
Soon after, Diaz also left Cuba. Martinez, who wound up in a Castro prison, never saw his friend alive again. In 1966, news broke that Diaz and a fellow anti-Castro fighter carrying American ID had been killed in a raid on the Cuban coast. The raiders' leader, Antonio Cuesta, was terribly wounded. In prison, still traumatized, he talked with Martinez.
I spoke a lot with Tony Cuesta, because, of course, I was sorry about the situation he was in. He knew of my friendship with Herminio. He told me there had been a moment when Herminio had told him, Tony Cuesta, that Herminio had participated in the murder of the President of the United States. That was the conversation that day.
That's all he said?
Yes, that's what he said.
Didn't you press him for details?
No, it was as if he hadn't told me. I accepted it because he told me, and I believed that, in that moment, he wasn't lying to me. But I didn't pressure him to tell me more.
Was Herminio professionally capable of doing that?
Oh yes, Herminio was a professional in that, in the use of weapons.
Did you believe it at the time?
I neither believed it, nor did I disbelieve it, because I had no evidence to know if it was the truth. I think he told me the truth.
What Martinez told us was, of course, hearsay, and more complex than can be explained in a brief soundbite. He insisted, though, that it was la verdad, mi verdad, the truth, my truth. Is this significant information on the fate that befell President Kennedy in Dallas? Martinez's friend Diaz had an appropriate profile. He was a crack marksman, had a known track record as a political assassin, and was involved with the mafia and the more extreme anti-Castro groups, both of which were bitterly hostile to the president. when the shots rang out in Dealey Plaza in November 1963. Was Diaz there, behind a gun?